If you've seen any videos on my channel, you know that I'm awful at 1v1s, and I mean absolutely terrible. So what better way to fix my terrible 1v1 gameplay than by learning dribbling and flicks, right? In today's video, I spent 7 days trying to master dribbling for my rank, and at the end of the video, we will see just how much it actually helped. So just like in my I spent 7 days learning to air dribble video, day 1 was supposed to be used as a benchmark. To start this journey, I was only in Diamond 1 Division 3 and 1v1s, and as for my dribbling, I was going to test my skills out in the Dribble 2 Overhaul Steam Workshop map. After about 18 minutes and a lot of failing, I made it to level 21 before I decided to stop. I hope you guys like this map because you'll be seeing it a lot in this video, as I used it to practice on almost half of the days. Next, I went to free play where I was not very impressed with my current ability to flick in different ways, and finally went into some 1v1 games to test my in-game dribbling. In the few games I played, I actually did quite well with some pretty standard dribbling goals, and I ended the day in Diamond 1 Division 4. For day 2, I mostly focused on the Steam Workshop map. I figured the best way to get better at flicks was by learning to dribble at a higher level, so I went to the workshop and tried the course again. I ended up making it a little bit farther to level 26 before I gave up for the day, as I was clearly still struggling with the higher levels. Afterwards, I went into free play and practiced some more flicks. So I wasn't planning on spending almost all of day 3 in the Steam Workshop, but after making it past level 26, I decided to see how far I could get. Levels 27 and 28 were difficult, but they did not feel out of my reach, as I felt significant improvement in my dribbling compared to the first 2 days. Level 29 was giving me quite a hard time due to the various slopes coupled with the moving objects, but I was still able to make it through to the final level, where I was not prepared for what was to come. So basically in level 30, you have to dribble the ball in a large circle while jumping over small hurdles. That part didn't seem too hard, except about halfway through you are forced into the intersection of the circle where there's almost no room for error. This proved to be too much for me, and I gave up on the last level after about an hour. Finally, I wrapped up the day with some free play dribble practice. Day 4 was spent entirely on grinding out free play and 1v1 matches, and for this day it finally felt like my training was paying off, and I ended up in Diamond 2 Division 2. I also felt like my flicks were finally coming into play more, as I was seeing a higher percentage of goals off of dribbling plays. Day 5 was when the real feeling of struggle started to kick in. In free play, I felt fine, but as soon as I got into ranked, it was a whole different story. Not only were my flicks not as good, but I felt like I was struggling with even the basics of 1v1s getting scored on from almost every angle. With the combination of sloppy dribbling and defense, I found myself in Diamond 2 Division 1 on the edge of demotion. Day 6 is when everything started to fall apart. I was playing some of the worst Rocket League of my life, and I was taking an absolute beatdown in almost every game I played. In addition to this, I couldn't even get myself in a good position to score that many flick goals, as every single aspect of the game felt slow, sloppy, and overall just subpar. After losing almost every game over the span of an hour, I found myself in Diamond 1 Division 2, which is lower than the rank that I started at. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, because it felt like I'd wasted all of this time learning something that I thought would help me, but actually might have been hurting me. So I decided to put down the controller for the day and move on. This was it, the final day. I entered the day feeling a little bit stressed, as it seemed like I had shown no progress over the course of 7 days. Regardless, my first progression test was to see if I could beat the Dribble 2 Overhaul Workshop map once and for all, and I was not prepared for what was about to happen. I found myself not only going through the course in record time, but everything felt so smooth, it didn't even seem like it was a fluke. Almost every single level past level 20 was done in significantly less attempts, and after 23 minutes I was staring down the final level, and finally, after only 20 attempts on level 30, I completed the course. I started to feel a lot better as I finally had some progression to show for. Next, I went into free play to see how many types of flicks I was able to do. I gave myself about 7 minutes to see how many I could do, and I was actually quite pleased with this result as well. I was able to do 9 different flicks, which was probably 5 more than I could do before starting this video. And for the final test, I went back into ranked in what was perhaps one of the most mediocre displays of all time. After day 7, I finished the entire challenge in Diamond 1 Division 3, the exact rank that I started at the beginning of this video. So was that it? All I had to show for my hard work was the exact same rank I started at? Well, not quite. You see, with most mechanics, you need more than 7 days to actually be effective in ranked matches with them. So the fact that I was still seeing progression even in times where I was playing my worst Rocket League was definitely something to show for. Yes, I am still at the same rank, but I can confidently say that the last 2 days of the challenge were some of the worst Rocket League I'd played in months, so to still be at the same rank after all of that is good enough for me. Going forward, I will need to do 2 things to improve my 1v1s even further. I need to continue to practice dribbling and improve my 1v1 habits. The first one makes a lot of sense because you can't just stop practicing mechanics and expect to be at the same level or better. Now, I don't think I'll need to practice for hours on hours every day, but I certainly need to keep practicing flicks in match. As for my 1v1 habits, they're atrocious. I'm too timid around the ball and still give up possession too quickly. This will need to be the main focus going forward, as it is hard to practice any offense-based mechanics when I'm constantly playing defense and giving up possession. And that was my journey for the week, so if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to subscribe to my channel and let me know what mechanic I should do next. And with that, I'll see you guys next time.